beautiful people. It is me, Kirsten. This is the It's Giving Mystical podcast. This is your weekly episode for the week of June 30th, the last day of June, our entrance into July. I will have the July podcast out tomorrow, FYI. Usually, for like the record or anyone who's keeping track, I'm going to be having the monthly podcast launch on or drop on the Monday before the first of the month. But if you listen to last week's podcast, June kind of has me. June is like, has its way with me. And I just couldn't get it all done this week. So I will have it out by the 1st, which will be excellent. I'm so excited to talk to you about that energy and about what the month of July holds for us. I think it's going to be the time out that we all need, the restorative, nurturing month that we all need after May and June. And before I get into the card that's coming up for us this week, I'd love to check in with you about the devil and how that sat with you, how they danced with you last week. For me personally, there was a really knotty moment, a really tangled moment where I got unusually lost and ungrounded and just stayed with myself through that. And it was really interesting to see the story that emerged, to see the information that emerged from that. So I wonder what it was like for you. I wonder if you had a similar experience. The devil is so interesting because, we just don't know what we don't know. And our operation happens in such a limited framework. And even if we're thinking about expansiveness, and even if we're investigating our narratives, and even if we're working with spirit to become more full, more present, more grounded, more aware, things still sneak up on us. The things that get us tangled. And for me, I feel such gratitude over this last week, the way the devil showed me something that had really tangled me and really disempowered me. Yeah, I don't know, I feel so grateful for that experience because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't know that I was tripping over something that I didn't need to trip over anymore, something that was old and practically irrelevant to the situation that I was struggling with. And yet it was the thing keeping me bound. So just checking in with you, giving you these moments just to kind of reflect on what was it like for you? What was the devil energy like in your life? What were the questions around binding, the questions around constriction, the questions around liberation, the questions around laughter that walked with you last week? And I hope that you felt the devil as the ally that they are. I'm so curious and interested to talk to you about the card that I pulled for us this week. I pulled the Hermit again. And listen, I am like you. When I go to the tarot and I ask a question, I pull a card, I don't want the same answer. And anyone who works with the tarot, anyone who works with any kind of spirit medicine has had that very human experience of being like, here's my question, spirit. And then spirit gives you an answer. And then you're like, yeah, I don't like that answer. That's boring, or I don't want to do that, or that's not fun, or give me another answer. And my cousins and I have this really classic one of me asking a question, and the tarot cards literally laid out the message of, did I stutter, bitch? Like, did I fucking stutter, woman? Like, you know the answer to this question. You can come to us all day long and we can talk about it all day long, but the truth is the truth. The answer is the answer. The energy is the energy. And so when I pulled the tarot for us this week, there's a part of me that was like, oh man, nobody wants to hear about the Hermit again. Excuse me, Hermit. So disrespectful. I apologize for my my silliness. But I had that experience. I had that feeling. And I love the Hermit card. And I actually legitimately feel guilty that I just said that out loud to you guys. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so I pulled the Hermit and I was like, oh man, that's not fun. And then I was like, shut up, Kirsten. Like, it's not about you, honey. It's about the tarot. So I sat with it and I put my hands on the card. I went to the tarot. I went to the Hermit and I said, what's up? Like, why are you back again? What's going on? And it was such a beautiful message that came through. And so I tell you all of this roundabout stuff to say, like, stay with it. Like, whatever your practice, whatever your question, whatever your inquiry, whatever your challenge, whatever your struggle, stay with it. Stay with it. And I know better. Like, I know better. And you probably know better too. And when I teach tarot, or when we sit in women's circle and people pull a card, I say the most telling thing that can happen to you when you pull a card is you can have three responses usually, right? Oh, I know exactly what this means. I have no idea what this means. There's no connection at all. Or I'm unsure. I'm unsure is actually the most stable place, because this idea of I know exactly what the card's telling me, or this idea of I have no connection at all to this card, huge gateways, invitations into what might be possible, what actually might be happening here. Because like I just said with that devil experience, you don't know what you don't know. And so when you have a card in front of you, you have this little messenger of truth, messenger of spirit in front of you, and your reaction is, oh, I know this already. Bullshit. Stay with it. Or if your reaction is, oh, I have no idea. There's no connection to this card. I also call that bluff. Stay with it. What might emerge if you stay with it? Saying all this to you because that was my experience just this morning, right? Pulling this card for you. It's like I had this reaction of like, oh, hermit, come on, man, you're already here. Like, make some room for other people. Make some room for other energies. And then I feel so terrible even saying that, because then when I sat with hermit for a minute, there's this whole beautiful other doorway, other like red carpet that unfurled itself for me to be like, baby, look, this is what you can share. This is the gift of this week. Whatever your practice, I just encourage you this week, in this year, this lifetime, to stay with it. Pause, give yourself a breath, give yourself 2 breaths. Give yourself a moment of openness and curiosity and patience with your process, with life, with the invitations, with the conversations that want to happen. We move so quickly, and we want our answers now, and we want our growth now, and we want our change now. We want our healing now. With grace and with love, the universe doesn't work that way. Do miraculous things happen? Do instantaneous things happen? Yes. Is it also true that most of life unfurls at its own pace? And that idea of staying in this moment, staying in this breath, and letting it expand around you is such a gift. That is what presence is. That is this idea of be here now. Be here now where everything is happening. Truly, where everything is happening. So the hermit taught me that this week, showed me that, reminded me that when I'm sitting here with you. The hermit came up a few weeks ago, and it was this idea of the hermit emerging. So like, who am I when I'm alone in the room? How do I pivot and then re-enter space? And what is that experience like? What can I gather, learn, feel from that experience? And that is not what the hermit is sharing with us today. The hermit is coming to us today as a guardian, as a protector, as a guide. The need right now is to know you are not alone. And in my meditation, the hermit took my hand and put it on their chest and just let me hear their heartbeat, let me feel their heartbeat. And it was this deeply protective feeling, like this idea that they talk about the pulse of love or the beat of life, and it's always with you. It's something that in Celtic shamanism, I think they call it the beat of life. And it's this like pulse, this constant pulse, echoing in you and echoing in everything around you, like every part of the world around you, moving with this rhythm, this pulse. And in Tantra, they talk about the pulse of love. It's part of the feminine practice in Tantra, right? To feel into your belly, your womb, and to feel into that generative place and just track it. Like, oh, right, there's this really pleasurable pulse of love that is in my body all the time. And it echoes the pulse of the earth. And I can always have that. I can always feel that. It's like breath. And in Tantra, we talk about the pleasure associated with that. When you quiet your space, your mind, and you just tune into that. For the feminine practitioner, that is pleasure. That is always coursing through your body. And it's this like beautiful reminder of how alive you are. The hermit is coming to us this week to remind us of that. There's this pulse, this beat of love, of life, of light, whatever words speak to you, right? Like, make your own language around it. But just feel that pulse. This is really like sexy, warm, vital beat. that lives in your body. And the hermit wants us to remember that. And they want us to remember it not just as a thing that exists in your body, but as the echo of love around you, as the way that the universe is holding you with love. So the energy of hermit this week feels like the energy of condor. It feels like the energy of spirit, saying, I got you, baby. You do not walk alone. You never walk alone. And so I invite you this week to feel that, to like really become aware of that as we enter this month of July. I don't walk alone. I don't do any of this alone. And we can think of that, in an earthbound way of our companions, our soulmates, our family of choice or of blood, like the people that we surround ourselves with, our community. There's a brilliant meditation that comes from a book called Discovering Your Soul Signature, and it's by Panache Desai. I hope I'm saying that right. And there's a meditation that they offer in that book that's called the spiral staircase. And you walk onto the spiral staircase and you place yourself on the staircase. So whatever your age, you find that number step and you stand there. And in that meditation, you recognize that on each step below you, there exists another version of you. And on every step above you, there exists another version of you, up into infinity, down to birth. And probably you could probably do that beyond birth, but I've only done it to childhood. You can really play with that. You can visit yourself as a child. You can visit yourself as the wise woman. You can visit yourself next year. You can visit yourself last year. You can do so many cool things with this meditation. It's really a template that I use quite often. The beautiful thing about this meditation is it places you in this field of recognizing that you really don't walk alone ever. Like you have the version of you that came yesterday and last breath and last year standing to your side. And you have the version of you that will come with the next breath, that will come next year, that will come in 5 years, standing to your side. You walk with an army of you on either side of you. You are never alone. And the choices you make, like we said in June, right? They inform who you will become in the future. And they satisfy and speak to and honor the one that you were, the versions of you that you were. So that's one way that you are just held. Like if nothing else, if you don't want to invoke ancestors or angels or guides or the hermit or condor, or if none of that speaks to you, then recognize that you walk with yourself. Recognize the companion that you are to yourself, and recognize that is such a dynamic force, that version of you, those versions of you, the human that you are, it has so many iterations that have come, so many iterations that will come, and they all exist. They're all here, they're all present, they're all with you. They're all cheering you on in this moment and informing who you are and informing where you're going. And it's so beautiful to feel just the companionship and humanity that is. And then, you also have this invocation of the ones who have come before you. The people that came before you, they dreamt of a life. They dreamt of a future. And you are living that. You are unfolding that. You are existing in ways that they never imagined were possible. I was visiting colleges with my oldest daughter this past weekend and watching her navigate that and watching her come to a place where she felt like she had found a place that really inspired her and excited her and something that she wanted to work towards. And it's remarkable. It's really an incredible place. And I went to college, I went to graduate school. I have a lot to be proud of in terms of my education, but watching her take this next level of success and want it, craft it, create it, become it, and just thinking what that would have meant to my grandparents who maybe finished high school, but it was there was a lot going on then, or my mother who was the first in her family to go to college, my father who was the first in his family to go to college, what that would have meant to their parents and their parents to see her reaching for the places she's reaching for. And I have total faith in her. I know she's gonna end up exactly where she needs to be, and she's gonna have great success in her life. I have not a shadow of a doubt, because I know her heart, I know who she is, I know how she sees the world. I can feel that in her. And what that would have meant to the people that came before her, and what it means to me, and what it would have meant to my parents and my grandparents and my great-grandparents, and on and on. All of them, we talk about trauma, ancestral trauma, and that is real. It is so real. But we don't often remember the ancestral gifts. and there are so many. For every part of your lineage or story where there is pain or contraction, there is also hope. To give birth to a child, to allow new life into the world, is to hope for more, is to hope for the future. And that's something that Maureen always talks about in family constellations. They gave you life, so they believed in something. You're here, so some part of them wanted to continue. Some part of them believed in this grand experiment of existing as a human. Take that. Let it fill your bones. Let it fill your body. I was hoped for. I was created and hoped for. And here I am. And I have, in whatever capacity feels good and safe to me, this army behind me, cheering me on, applauding me, hoping for me, just rooting for me so deeply. And then you have all of the angels, and you have all of the earth spirits, and you have all of the star brothers and sisters who just look at you with such love. And that is the message of the hermit. It's a simple one. It's a simple one. But maybe you need to know that this week. Maybe you need to really remember that this week. You are so loved. You are so protected. And you don't take a single step alone. You don't take a single step alone. The hermit comes to us this week to say, I got you, baby. I'm with you. And if all else fails, if you doubt that for a second, quiet yourself down, put your hand on your heart and feel the beat. Feel the pulse. Feel the pulse of love and light and life that courses through your body. And feel beyond your own little being to all of the love echoing around you. All of the spirit echoing around you. Again, just cheering you on. Wrapping you in their protective wings, wrapping you in their arms. I said this before, and I'll say it again. My mom used to always say about the temperance card that, you don't take any step without your angels. Every stone in the path, every hiccup, every trip, every success, every single one is orchestrated. Like no stone is placed without purpose in the gravel path of your life, right? Like it is all, every leaf on the tree is there for a reason. The hermit wants us to remember that this week. You are protected, you are guided, and you are loved. And you are enough. Just now, just here. And so whatever comes up for you this week, just remember that. Keep that around you. Whatever you need to mark that, to remember that. Maybe you want to tie a little piece of fabric around your wrist to feel the hermit's cloak wrapped around you. Or maybe you want to set up an altar or a tribute or a blessing to an angel or an ancestor that you feel particularly connected to. But allow yourself to open more to the experience of just how protected you are, just how loved you are. So thank you, Hermit, for your patience with me, with human Kirsten. And I just honor wherever you are on the path. And I feel for you how protected you are, how held you are, how dynamic and fantastic and adoring your crowd is, your crew is, your guides are. And I hope you can feel that more deeply this week. And I, for one, am holding that awareness and sight for you, that within you beats the pulse of life, and within you beats the pulse of love, and no one can take that away from you. And surrounding you are just infinite, limitless angels and guides and protectors and love. So much love surrounds you. You are deeply held and deeply protected and deeply adored. All right, cookies, I will see you later. I wish you so much knowing of all of that in the week ahead. And I will check you soon on the July monthly forecast. Okay, bye. It's giving everything is sacred. It's giving art. It's giving light you up and turn you on and set you free. It's giving curiosity. It's giving freedom. It's giving love. It's giving you are more magical and powerful than you can comprehend. It's giving, I don't know what's happening, but I am so here for it. It's giving you are pure potential. It's giving mystical.